To you, they were never just an animal. They were a confidant, a companion, a wordless comforter. I can still picture their eyes, the profound way they would gaze at me, as if they grasped the very essence of my thoughts. I remember the way their quiet presence could fill a space, bringing a sense of peace without a single sound. And then one day they were no longer there, leaving behind an emptiness so vast it caught me completely by surprise. I might have braced myself for sorrow, but not for this particular kind of grief, the type that leaches the color from the world and introduces a question I never realized would hold such weight. Where did they go?
Do they exist somewhere? Still?
If you have ever found yourself pondering what becomes of our pets after they die, rest assured you are not the only one. It is not a foolish question to ask, for when a love that pure departs from this physical plane, it leaves a query in its wake, one that doesn't easily diminish. What if the connection we shared was not merely a matter of emotion, but something more, an energetic, spiritual, and perhaps even timeless bond? Throughout history, across countless cultures and spiritual beliefs, a single shining truth has remained consistent. Animals are far more than just flesh and blood. They are carriers of energy, they articulate deep emotions, and many traditions believe they are bearers of a soul. Love that refuses to die, the presence you can still feel, and the knowing deep within you that declares, this was real.
This is real.
Because some truths do not require external proof, they only need to be remembered. And deep down, you already remember. It might feel strange to wonder if my dog found his way to heaven, or if my cat's spirit lingers near me, but what if these are the most meaningful questions we could possibly ask? Because lurking behind them is the ultimate inquiry. Does love truly die, or does it simply transform? The ancient Egyptians held a conviction that specific animals acted as divine emissaries, sacred beings that traversed the realms between the living and the dead. For them, cats were not simple household companions. They were seen as protectors of the soul's journey. The jackal-headed deity, Anubis, was believed to preside over the afterlife's entrance, escorting spirits through the process of judgment. Their beliefs also encompassed the idea that a soul could be reborn as an animal, or that animals could serve as vessels for human souls in their transitional phases. In India, the sacred cow is not merely a cultural icon, she is revered as the living manifestation of divine nurturing and gentleness. Within both Hinduism and Buddhism, it is thought that all conscious beings are entwined in the immense cycle of reincarnation. Your pet could one day return to you, or perhaps they have been with you in a previous existence. This is not seen as a fanciful notion but as a fundamental aspect of a cosmology shared by over 1 billion people. Similarly, in Native American spiritual traditions, the veil between the human and animal spirit is remarkably thin. Animals are regarded as spirit guides, revered teachers, and powerful totems that symbolize strength and ancestral memory. I wasn't being irrational for believing my dog understood me, I was perceiving a truth. In those quiet moments of profound connection, an exchange was occurring that transcended spoken language, something deeply ancient and sacred. But perhaps you are someone who requires more than anecdotal stories. Perhaps your mind seeks the validation of science. This is where the narrative becomes truly captivating. Contemporary studies in the field of neuroscience have demonstrated that many animals, particularly our domestic companions, experience complex emotions, maintain long-term memories, and exhibit empathy and even grief. Elephants have been observed conducting somber vigils, birds can recall acts of kindness, dogs are adept at recognizing human facial expressions and emotional states, and cats purr not just for their own comfort but to heal, emitting vibrations at frequencies known to promote bone regeneration and tissue repair. A growing number of researchers now entertain the possibility that consciousness itself might not be an exclusive human trait. Perhaps consciousness isn't something we possess, but rather something we are all part of, a collective field, a shared frequency, an interconnected web of awareness. The deeper our scientific inquiry into the animal kingdom goes, the more we are compelled to ask, what if they have been conscious all along, and we were simply not conscious enough to perceive it? But the evidence extends beyond the laboratory. There is something more, something profoundly mystical. You may have come across the name Edgar Cayce, a man famously known as the sleeping prophet. He had the unique ability to enter a trance-like state and provide thousands of spiritual discourses on a vast array of subjects, from physical health and the nature of the soul to the experience of life after death. And yes, he spoke about animals. According to Cayce's readings, animals typically function within what he termed group souls, sharing a form of collective spiritual consciousness. However, and this is the part that might resonate deeply, he explained that in specific instances, when the bond between human and an animal deepens to a profound level, that animal can start to individualize spiritually. It can begin to evolve, to step onto a unique soul journey, propelled by love, by the relationship, by its connection to you. He asserted that our pets frequently choose to incarnate into our lives repeatedly. This means your dog may have been with you in a past life, and your cat might return to you, not merely as a fleeting memory or a feeling, but as a soul steadfastly continuing its journey alongside yours. When they pass away, they do not simply cease to exist. Casey vividly described their essence transitioning into a spiritual dimension where they remain accessible, aware, and deeply connected. He taught that in the afterlife, much like humans who gravitate towards their soul families, animals are naturally drawn to the beings they cherished most. This implies they are not lost to us, they are waiting, observing, and continuing to love us. Let that idea settle for a moment. Consider all those instances when you've perceived something unexplainable, a gentle touch of wind in a closed room, a dream so intensely real it felt like a memory, a familiar sound in the hallway, or the distinct feeling of a presence settling down beside your feet. What if that wasn't a product of your imagination? What if it was a visitation? The Bible itself contains passages that hint at a more inclusive spiritual reality. It prophesies that the lion shall lie down with the lamb, and the book of Revelation describes every creature in heaven and on earth joining in a chorus of praise. Saint Francis of Assisi saw animals not merely as God's creations, but as our spiritual brothers and sisters. Even Pope Francis once hinted that paradise is open to all of God's creatures. If love represents the highest possible frequency, if it is a divine force, then how could the powerful love between you and your pet simply be extinguished? You see, the bond you shared was not a coincidence. It was not insignificant, and it was certainly not just a pet. What you experienced was a form of resonance, a frequency where their presence became synchronized with yours in a way that needed no words. When they laid their head on your lap during your darkest hours, or when they greeted you at the door as if your return was the most glorious event imaginable, it was something more than mere animal behavior. It was a sacred acknowledgement, as if a deeper part of them was recognizing a deeper part of you. When you lose a pet, the world doesn't always offer the understanding you need. You might hear well-meaning but hollow phrases like, "It was only a dog," or "You can always get another cat," as if the source of your profound grief could be so easily substituted. But your grief tells a different story. Your grief proclaims that this life mattered, that this was a soul, a presence, a being who knew you in ways that some humans never will. And that persistent ache in your chest, the one that arrives in unexpected waves, is the echo of a connection so deep that its severance reverberates through your very spirit. Grief is not evidence that you lost something of little value. It is the definitive proof that you experienced something truly beautiful. The more profoundly you loved, the more profound the sense of loss. The fact that it hurts so intensely is a testament to the reality and power of what you shared. Some traditions teach that love is a form of energy. If this is true, then the bond between you and your pet was never confined to their physical body. It resided in the unseen spaces between your hearts, in the quiet glances, in the shared silences, and in the vibrational harmony between you. And as science tells us, energy can never be destroyed, it can only be transformed. This is the essence of what so many ancient spiritual teachings convey when they speak of love's eternal nature. Love is not a fleeting moment or a temporary emotion, it is a frequency of the soul. When you love with such depth, you transmit a signal into the cosmos, creating a kind of spiritual imprint that time cannot erase. The universe holds that memory, and perhaps, just perhaps, your pet does too. There is a reason you can still sense their presence, why at times, when you allow yourself to be perfectly still, it feels as if they are right there with you. You might imagine you hear the soft patter of their paws, or catch a faint whiff of their unique scent in a room where they love to sleep. You might have dreams of them, vivid, alive, and looking into your eyes with that same undeniable affection. These moments are not simply tricks of the memory, they are signals, love leaving behind breadcrumbs, spirit leaving its fingerprints. Some might dismiss this as wishful thinking, but is it really? Consider the mechanics of memory and energy. The brain operates on electrical impulses, the heart generates a measurable electromagnetic field, and your emotions create tangible shifts in your personal energy. When you think of them, speak to them, or even weep for them, what if you are doing more than just remembering? What if you are actively reaching out across the veil? You have likely heard the term soulmates, a concept we typically reserve for romantic partners. But what if soulmates appear in countless forms? What if some of the most crucial soul contracts we forge before coming into this life are not with other people, but with the animals destined to walk beside us? There is a profound wisdom in their simplicity. They do not pass judgment. They are indifferent to your social status, your income, or your past mistakes. They love you in the most unconditional present-moment way imaginable. And that quality of love changes a person. It can heal wounds, open a closed heart, and teach lessons that no philosophical text ever could. If you have ever sat in the quiet presence of a dying pet and felt something intangible yet undeniable depart from the room, then you already possess this truth. You have been a witness to it. That moment of transition is more than a biological process. It is a crossing, a release, a transformation. For those who are attuned, you can almost sense it, a profound stillness, a kind of sacred knowing. Some spiritual teachers suggest that animals do not fear death in the same way humans do. They do not fight it, they surrender to it. And within that surrender lies a powerful lesson, something we might do well to learn from. Because when they depart, they often do so with a gentle trust, as if they know something we have long forgotten. And perhaps they do. Perhaps they know that the soul is not constrained by the limits of time, and that the love you shared is not locked away in the past. It exists in the eternal now. They are not gone, merely gone from your sight, but they remain with you, still loving you, and still responding to your thoughts. If love is the bridge between worlds, then you are still connected. Perhaps when you whisper, "I miss you," into the quiet air, they truly hear it. Perhaps when you place your hand on the spot where they used to sleep, they genuinely feel it. And perhaps, just maybe, that ache that resides in your heart is not only grief, but the gentle brush of their spirit against yours, a tender reminder, "I am still here." You do not need a specific religion to feel this truth. You do not need to be a psychic to perceive it. All you truly need is your own experience, the